What is going on? In this video, I want to discuss the issue with black men and child support in particular, but really it's cisgendered men. It's cisgendered heterosexual men across the board who have this mindset. Yes.
Bring those other two.
Bring what?
Good.
Hold on. Again, when you were caring for your family.
Oh no! Why don't we never sure talk about it when the mother knows? Oh, baby knows.
Taking care of your family. The other aspect of this is that it's cisgendered heterosexual men, okay? It's typically cishet men and cisgendered men who have these issues around child support. And this is my thing, and I've been saying this for years. If you don't want child support, you don't want to be trapped by a woman or whoever, a woman, a person in general, because again, it ain't just cis women that can give birth. It ain't just cis women, but cis women. You don't want to be trapped by a cis woman or a cis het woman. You don't want to be trapped by an intersex person, a trans man, a trans masculine person, whomever. You don't want to be trapped by another man, another woman, another person, another human being. Number one, there's a sure way of reducing the likelihood of that happening by simply sexual discipline, instead of screwing everything that walks. And also, wear a condom. Holy shit. Why are you just willingly penetrating everything raw? I mean, you say you don't want kids, you don't want to be trapped, you don't want child support, but you're penetrating and ejaculating in every woman, person, any and everything. And then what's crazy is you're not even getting consent to ejaculate in the vast majority of these people. You're raw dogging folks, you're lying about pulling out, you're stealthing people. You don't have their consent. But okay, for those of you who had consent, right? This was agreed upon. You're complaining about child support. And yet, the main reason you're on child support is because you weren't fulfilling your fatherly duties. Let's just be real. A lot of y'all are not fathers. You don't want to provide financially, emotionally, or physically to your children. So child support had to become a policy. Otherwise, it would constantly fall on the state, which is constantly me and you and other people, aka the taxpayers, having to pay for your mistakes. Because that's exactly what it is. Y'all didn't want these kids. And a lot of y'all use children to trap people. It needs to just be said. Because a lot of y'all who are filing for child support too, because you know me, psych perspectives, I'm going to hit them on both ends. Psych perspectives. Whether it's a cis woman, intersex woman, non-binary person, trans man, intersex man, whoever it may be. You knew the person that you got pregnant by wasn't about shit. You knew this. A lot of you knew they were lying. There was red flags leading all the way up to this. And a lot of people will sit up and try to get somebody pregnant or becoming pregnant because they think that's going to make that person stay with them My thing is, if they're already lying and cheating, guess what? They're going to continue to lie and cheat with the baby. And if they already don't want to work, barely can keep a job, isn't really responsible, they're not going to magically become responsible and want to keep a job and work when the baby comes. Okay? So, just going to throw that out there. Everybody could be using condoms. Everybody could be practicing more sexual discipline. Some folks need to just straight up abstain or practice celibacy. I'm just going to be real. And at the bare minimum, you would think use condoms. Get on some type of birth control. But that's right. Hold up. You don't want child support. That's bringing a man down. But a lot of you dudes are misogynistic. You don't want women and people who can give birth. You don't want people who can give birth and women to have access to reproductive health care. You don't want them to be able to have access to birth control. You don't want them to be able to get an IUD or opt to take the pill or get a shot, or if it's a mistake, because that's what it is the vast majority of the time, have an option to get an abortion. But in the same breath, I don't want to be on child support. Stop creating unwanted kids. Stop ejaculating in people. Wear a condom. And then for some of you who already know you don't want kids ever, guess what? Get a vasectomy. Oh, but that's right. We also have to make sure that everyone has access to quality, affordable, accessible, and inclusive healthcare coverage. Mental and physical healthcare coverage, which is also an issue that we have in the USA. A lot of people don't have access to affordable, quality, accessible, or inclusive healthcare coverage. Medical providers. It's like we create our own problems and then point fingers and act like we don't know what's going on. Yeah, welcome to the USA. But, yeah. And then particularly with black men, and this is what gets me, is that a lot of you black cisgendered men, black cishet men, you feed into your own negative stereotypes. This whole time, it was like y'all kept saying everybody's bashing the black man. We are fathers. We are there for our kids. We do what we need to do for our kids. We protect. We provide. We take care of our families. But yet, you seem to always be the loudest when it comes to child support. And then my thing is this. If all of these black men are providing and protecting for their families and their children, then why are you all being caught up in child support? And then also, if everybody had all of these black men that everybody keeps talking about, good fathers, good dads, good relationship partners, good lovers, good people in general, right? Then why is there so many people that don't know who their father is, or their father was very much a deadbeat and inconsistent in and out of their lives? Why is that such a common scenario for a lot of people? And I'm going to say it ain't just black men. It's cisgendered men and cishet men in general. Why is that common? Right? A lot of people can knows multiple folks that don't know who their daddy is, or their dad was very inconsistent. And they also know people who didn't know where their moms were and had inconsistent mothers and deadbeat mothers. A lot of people can relate to this toxic, abusive setup, but yet, are you doing anything to avoid it? Are we doing anything to address it? Are we doing anything to prevent it? Are we doing anything to help those who now have all of this trauma because of that upbringing? Because again, none of us asked to be here. That's something that also has to be like, and again, also on the whole money situation, right? Because I hear a lot of men, well, everything ain't about money. You're right. Everything isn't about money. But guess what? It takes money to raise a child. They're a freaking human being. It takes time to raise a child. It takes energy. It takes patience. It takes you being present. And a lot of you are not doing any of that. And then complaining that the mother of the child or the person who birthed the child is like, well, you can at least, and this is hilarious, right? Because a lot of you cis men, 50-50, but you are never 50-50. You want 50-50 when it's convenient for you. Because my thing is this, why would you want the woman or the person who literally sacrificed their life to give birth, and then you expect that person, that woman, that person to be working, taking care of the child, cooking and cleaning, and then what are you doing? What are you doing? And how is that ever going to be 50-50? Because cis men, you're not giving birth. You're not risking your life. You're not having your all these medical issues that can literally come on because of an unwanted pregnancy. You're not helping them rest and heal. Y'all literally think y'all are babysitting your own damn kids. That's how low the damn totem pole is. And granted, are there good cis men and good cishet men out here who are outstanding fathers, outstanding brothers and uncles and people, loving and caring for their children, loving and caring for their families, their communities? Yes, there are. I'm not saying that there isn't, but we have to be honest. We need a lot more of those and a less amount of these. I don't want to take care of my kid. I want 50-50, but not when it comes to raising my kid. I want 50-50, but not when it comes to me doing my share of cleaning the house, cooking food. It's just so many things. I'm like, come on, y'all. And again, the sperm comes to the egg. The egg doesn't come to the sperm. So again, you don't want child support. You tired of the hoes trapping you. Then stop sticking your penis in everything that moves. Stop ejaculating in people. Stop ejaculating in people without their consent. Use a condom. Have some sexual discipline. Care about your own well-being, right? You're setting yourself up to have all these problems. That's what I'm saying. But again, when we don't teach cis boys, cis males, cis men that they too need to treat their body like a temple, and they shouldn't just be out here screwing everything, and maybe they also should wait until they're married to have sex or practice sexual discipline. We only tell that to one particular group. We don't tell that to everybody, right? And again, a cis male will have 8 kids from 8 different people, and they can all be born in the same year. Meanwhile, a person can only give birth to a full-term pregnancy. So a woman or a person who can give birth can only give birth to a full-term pregnancy once a year. Meanwhile, a cis male can create a child every single month, every single day, every single week. Literally. This is why you have niggas walking around talking about they got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 kids, and they got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different baby mamas, baby daddies, whatever. Yes, women also. People who give birth also. Everybody needs to start taking some type of responsibility and actually looking at things for what it is. They don't have to be here. You don't have to be trapped. You don't have to be getting trapped. Because another thing, a lot of these people use kids to trap, and this is very true. He never cared about you, never liked you, never wanted you. However, power and control. If he gets you knocked up, guess what? He knows he can come in and out of your life for a very long time. And that's what a lot of narcissistic, toxic types do. Same thing with the on the other side. If it's a woman or a person who can become pregnant, they can purposely get knocked up because they look at it like, especially if they think that it's a good person, because that's typically what toxic, narcissistic people do. They don't want you to succeed and thrive. So they're going to be they see that you're doing well. Oh, let me latch onto this one by getting pregnant or getting them pregnant. And so I say you got to pay attention. Right? Humans are something else. But in the same breath, like I said, the sperm comes to the egg. So you know who really needs to be on birth control is really the cis male and the person with the penis. Should have always been. Because you're the ones bringing the sperm to the egg. Ain't nobody coming to you. You're the one willingly ejaculating in people. And then complaining about being caught up in the system on child support. Then stop sleeping around. Which is hilarious because a lot of you have always called women and bottoms and feminine people sluts and whores for being sexually active. But meanwhile, most of you cis males are literally the definition of a slut, of a whore. Because all you do is sleep around. And then what really is jacked up is most of you are lying about being single. Right? You're single, but you really got a situationship and you really got a girlfriend or a wife or a boyfriend or a husband. But you're going around telling everybody you're single. Y'all will be in a whole marriage and then be sitting up here getting somebody else, one of the side chicks, side dudes, side persons, pregnant or becoming pregnant by them. Creating all of these broken households, all these broken families. But then want to sit up and talk about family values. A lot of you are hypocrites. A lot of you contradict yourself every single day. And it's wild to see it. Like, oh, child support. And also, they take a portion based off of the person's income. It's based off of that person's income, the amount that is allocated to the child support. So, all of this making it seem like everybody is paying thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars a month is a bunch of bullshit. Because guess what? Your average working person in the USA makes under $100,000 a year. Around 13 to 15% of the working population in the USA earns over $100,000 a year. So if it's 13 to 15% that's actually earning $100,000 or more per year, that leaves us with what? 85 to 87% of the working population in the USA making under $100K a year. So a lot of you are lying about how you're just getting gouged for child support because it's based off your income. You're not paying $5,000 a month and you only make $50,000 a year. And again, if you actually would stop giving your sperm, giving your seed, giving your energy, and literally giving your life to any and everybody, and actually looked at yourself with pride and self-respect, you wouldn't want to be getting everybody pregnant. You wouldn't want to be impregnating people. You wouldn't want to be allowing people to come in you and ejaculate in you. You wouldn't want that shit. Because that's another thing. When you actually love and like and care and respect yourself and love and like and care and respect the other person, you typically don't have to run into the child support shit. You typically don't have to worry about them trapping you or you becoming trapped or you trapping each other. That typically happens because you're dealing with toxic individuals. It just needs to be said. You're not dealing with healthy, behaviored, secured, attached. You're not dealing with decent people. That's where I'm just being honest. And a lot of us don't know what decent people are because we grew up in the environments that a lot of you, I don't want to pay child support and I'm getting trapped. And these niggas ain't shit, and these bitches ain't shit. We grew up in those environments by people like you who kept procreating and creating people like us. And we didn't ask to be here. And now we're in our 20s and 30s and 40s with severe childhood trauma, attachment issues galore. All because you were forced to be birthed to people who didn't want you, couldn't afford you, couldn't protect you, couldn't take care of you. They didn't like each other. They didn't like themselves. And then now you're just in the middle of it? Like, wow. So again, you don't want to be trapped. You don't want the hoes trapping you. You don't want the niggas trapping you. You don't want baby mamas, baby daddies. You don't want to be doing custody battles, child support, alimony, sexual discipline. Sexual discipline, and also we need to be advocating and fighting for abortions and reproductive health care and access to birth control and contraceptives and bodily autonomy and affordable health care, accessible health care, universal health care for everyone. Because you're going to continue to see these arguments and these same people talking about the same shit. And again, these are cisgendered people for the most part, but I'm not going to exclude the fact that intersex people have these issues, trans people have these issues, people have these issues. But if we're looking at it from a demographic population standpoint, it's mostly cisgendered people and people who are perceived to be cisgendered and heterosexual. It's like you talk about the queer and the LGBTQ plus community all the day. You talk about the trans people all day. But guess what? From a demographic population size, we're not the ones complaining about child support. We're not the ones abandoning children. We're not the ones getting people knocked up or becoming knocked up and creating all these unwanted kids. In fact, we're the ones adopting your children that you don't want. We're the ones mentoring your kids. We're the ones, taking the time to teach them how to read, how to write, listening to how they feel, taking them, to field trips so they can actually become aware of their community and culture. Because a lot of you cis people and you cis het people, you're the ones abandoning your kids, abusing your kids. But yet, you are so much better. And you project all of your problems on the LGBTQ plus community. I'm just saying. It's mighty odd. Because there's not to say that there aren't LGBTQ plus people who are having custody battles, child support issues, knocked up or getting knocked up and with the wrong person issues, because it's a human being problem. But overwhelmingly, it's clear what's going on. And again, if you don't want those problems, do what it takes to avoid those problems. Now, granted, nothing is 100%, but arguably outside of trigger warning, outside of sexual abuse, sexual assault, unwanted kids is highly preventable. As a society, if we wanted that. If we wanted to stop people from having unwanted pregnancies and being trapped by hoes and bitches and no good niggas and deadbeats, we wanted to stop people being beaten down by child support, we would do what it takes to prevent people from getting caught up in getting pregnant or becoming pregnant or getting someone pregnant in the first place. But like I said, people always want to talk about accountability until it's time to what? Take accountability. Because accountability really is about discipline and structure and being able to own up when you are wrong, when you made a mistake, when you need to do better. And a lot of people ain't trying to do that. They just want to complain all day and play victim to circumstances that they typically put themselves in. And then also as a society, we create a lot of circumstances and situations that don't make it easy for people not to be put in those situations as well. But anyways, that's my 2 cents. Yeah, here it is. I'm nearly 32. And guess what? I don't have any kids. I didn't get trapped. I didn't trap anybody. And trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. I've been through a lot of shit. I'm going to leave it at that. I've been through a lot of shit. And, no. I told myself I did not want to repeat what I and many people have gone through. And yeah. And I'm not saying people shouldn't ever have kids, but honestly, it should really be a key type of person to have kids. Because a lot of people are not the type of people to be having kids. I'm sorry, look around. And then as a society, we are not a decent society for people to be having children and having families. We're not. You want to have kids for them to live in poverty, for them not to have clean water, for them not to have access to quality, affordable, healthy fruits, vegetables, education, housing, like healthcare. Like, come on. You got to worry about them getting shot at schools. You got to worry about them. It's just so many things. But yet we want to talk about we're family value. Your only family value when it comes to sexuality, gender. So like when it comes to LGBTQ+, gay, lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, transgender, when it comes to cis women, trans women, feminine people, queer people, that's the only time that family values becomes a conversation, and all of a sudden we need to be Puritans and all this other shit, only for a very particular group, because the people who need to have more sexual discipline and be monitored are, like I said, the ones that are creating kids every single month. Like I said, you got dudes who got 20 and 30 kids. Now ask yourself, how in the hell do you have 20 and 30 kids? And then also, if you have that many kids, there's no way, logically, that you are going to be an active parent, an active father, an active mother, an active parent in all 20 to 30 kids' lives. It's physically impossible. Not to mention, most of us, it's financially impossible. So, come on. But yet, you have people out here who have 20 and 30 kids, and they're typically a person with a penis and or typically a cis male. A cisgendered male. So again, at some point, instead of sitting up, and this is for everybody, whether you are a cis woman, a cis man, intersex, trans, non-binary, for everybody. We need to protect ourselves and each other. So if you don't want these problems, do what it takes to avoid these problems. Because it's just wild. Like, I'm going to complain and complain. And then a lot of times, like I said, I know people who they're only paying like $100 a month in child support and complaining about that. Do you know how much it costs to get a bag of groceries? Notice I said a bag. Like, things are so expensive, and you're talking about a whole human being, a whole child, and you're complaining about paying $100 a month? Because like I said, it's based off of your income. And then on top of that, you don't even want to come to your visitation or your weekends. You don't even want to take your kid for the weekends that you have, but you complaining. Anyways, I'm done.